Hey guys, it's Hey Brittany and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Kindles and physical books. Let's go ahead and get into it. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and set a timer for 30 minutes. Hopefully we can keep this video short. I do have quite a lot that I want to talk about in this video. First off, let me start by saying that I cannot put my contacts in because I gave myself pink eye over the weekend when my contacts while I was doing my hair, so I cannot put those in. And I do have my glasses on obviously, but I cannot get rid of the glare from the ring light in my glasses, so I'm not using my ring light, so the quality of this video may not be what you're used to as far as like the brightness and like the sharpness of everything that's in the picture, so I do apologize for that. But I was really excited to record this content, so I wanted to go ahead and make a video for you since it's been a while since my last video where I talked about buying a Kindle device, a Amazon Fire tablet, and then just kind of trying to figure out which one to buy. So let's talk about it. Okay, first let's start with my Kindle. So as you can see, I do have the black basic Kindle. In my other video, I actually had the matcha green one and then a Amazon Fire 8 tablet with a gray back. I went ahead and returned those two devices shortly after doing that video because I knew that one, I couldn't keep both, and then I wanted to use a gift card that I used to purchase the Fire 8 device with whatever device I was actually going to keep. And so basically, just to recap that video, I was talking about how I had two big devices, so the Fire 10 and then my iPhone 16 Pro Max. So I really wanted to focus on getting a smaller device, or the smallest device that I could get that would allow me to read books on a bigger screen than what I was currently using with my iPhone 16 Pro Max. I did keep the basic, but I just changed to black, and I'm the type of person who gets really easily distracted by, I guess, colors, if that makes sense. The matcha green was very pretty and it was nice to look at, but I also never really got over the color, so every time I would look at the device I would notice the color, and it was distracting because I could never just see the device. I always noticed the color first, and so I knew that I was going to be distracted by that, like it was not going to change. And since I've gotten the black one, I feel like this is like an old-time friend or a long-time friend. So this just fits me so much better because it feels like I've had this device forever. The black isn't distracting. I love how everything looks on the page, and so the black is definitely a good choice if you really just want to focus on what's on the screen and what's on the page versus how the border of everything looks. I know that I was really picky about that with my iPhone, but black in this instance really does make a huge difference. Matcha, of course, if you don't mind the color and it doesn't distract you, then that's a good color for you. But for me, black works much better because it just felt like this device felt like it was made for me. It felt perfect for me. It felt like it just felt like it was a part of my normal routine. It didn't feel like, oh my gosh, let me go get the matcha green e-reader or anything like that. It just felt like one of my devices I've always been using forever, and so it just really fit into my routine. It didn't distract me as much as the matcha green did, and I just really enjoy reading on the Kindle Basic. So once I got this one, I knew that I wanted to do a Kindle insert. So as you can see, I do have a DIY Kindle insert. This is actually a photocopy of stickers that I put on an actual purple background. But what I ended up using, because I saw somebody else talk about this, they used scrapbook paper for their Kindle insert, and so I went and bought that. And what I noticed was that the paper is obviously thicker than printer paper, and it distracted me because once I had it inside the case, it felt like my case wasn't sitting properly on the device, and so that really distracted me. It's like once you notice something, you can't forget about it. You always notice it every time you look at it. That is what bothered me with using the scrapbook paper. So I was like, hey, you know what? I don't want to have to redo this on like thinner paper, construction paper, whatever. I don't want to have to buy a new pack of stickers because this is actually the third pack of stickers of this set of stickers that I've purchased, and I don't want to keep buying stickers to keep redoing the background. So what I did was I made a photocopy of this, and then I had actually cut the scrapbook paper so that it would kind of take up less around the edges, and I didn't like that when I photocopied it. So what I did was I had the cutout over a rectangle piece of paper, and then I photocopied that, and that kind of gave me the edging back that I wanted for this case. So this is actually the photocopied stickers. I do have the original, I can grab that in a second, but I like this so much better on printer paper because it feels like it doesn't really interfere with how my case sits on the device. So just to kind of show you everything that I did, so this is what I originally made. So this is the insert on scrapbook paper. This is obviously stickers. You can see it from the shine and the glare. These are the actual stickers. And then this is what I photocopied. And I actually did put a version of this over this when I photocopied it to kind of make the edges a little bit wider. Because again, I cut it to make it fit in the case a little bit better. So I just wanted to fix that border. So I used this and basically put this like that into the copier so that it would kind of fill out the edges a little bit more, and that worked out perfect, and that's what I have in my case now. And so you can just see how well it copied the stickers. Obviously it doesn't look like the stickers themselves, but it looks really good. So I really like having this on the thin computer paper much better than having it on scrapbook paper. So that's worked out well for me. So if you are debating on creating your own Kindle insert, you can use the method that I used to add a little bit of color, but also keep the stickers that you want without having to constantly redo it. Okay, so now in terms of physical books, let's talk about Fourth Wing. So I've been reading the Fourth Wing series on my Kindle. I got, what is the first one? Fourth Wing. I got Iron Flame, and then I also got Onyx Storm. So the first two, I read that exclusively on my Kindle. The third one was not part of Kindle Unlimited, so I had the choice of either buying the Kindle copy or the physical copy. And I did get a library card recently, and so I did want to initially rent the physical book from the library to read, but there was a 42-person wait, and I was not going to wait that long to read the book, especially because I kind of just wanted to continue the flow of what I was in as far as reading the stories, because I did read all three books back to back to back. So I decided not to wait for that long wait to get the book from the library. So I did first purchase the ebook copy, but then I was confused because I was like, you know, the physical copy is not that much more than the Amazon Kindle copy, because it was $14, and the book that I bought was $23. They only have Onyx Storm in the hardcover copy, so that's going to be a little bit more expensive than a paperback. So I did get the physical copy to read as well. I will grab that for you in a second. So this is the physical copy. I got it from Target. I was really big on getting it because of the sprayed edges. So I did have someone that I worked with, a coworker, who was really big on ordering these special edition books, and she would like order like a monthly subscription and like pick what books she wanted. And then this design looks really cool. So obviously if you have this on your bookshelf and you have it with the edges facing out, you can see the design. It's really cool. So I wanted to get this book for sure because of the sprayed edges, but I didn't realize initially that it didn't come in the paperback copy. So this is the only option for Onyx Storm. So I've been reading, I've been alternating between my Kindle and the physical book to kind of just get some use out of it. But I do have buyer's remorse with buying this, because obviously what this means is that I have two copies of the same book, one on Kindle and then the physical book. So the physical book was kind of a little bit difficult to read because I've been reading exclusively on Kindle for like the past 10-15 years. So I really had to get used to like holding the book, and you can see how I'm holding it. I had no idea how to hold the book comfortably, so I basically only read 2 chapters at a time from the book, and I would alternate between reading on this and then on my Kindle. And I did like the experience of reading a physical book again, because again, a book is so much different than just what you see on the ebook, because the cover, the design of the cover matters, the font and the book matters because it helps tell the story, and then like the weight of the book and all of that, because sometimes when I'm reading on the Kindle, I do use the same font for everything, so it kind of just feels like you're constantly reading the same book if you're not actually paying attention, because obviously the writing style varies from author to author, but when you're just looking at the page, you can't instantly tell that. But when you're looking at a physical book that someone is reading, you can tell what book they're reading, you can tell the difference in different books that they may have, and so it's a little bit more obvious that someone is reading different books versus on a Kindle. Everything just looks the same unless you see the book cover. Everything just looks the same, and that can kind of not feel like you have enough of a distance between books because you're just constantly going to one book, the next book, and so on. And I did like the breakup of reading the physical book from time to time and then also still reading on my Kindle, because my Kindle obviously is so much easier to read on because I didn't have to worry about lighting. So I had to turn my lamp on to read this in the living room, which is super annoying because with my Kindle I don't have to do that. I just adjust the lighting on my Kindle. So that was something that I had to not get used to, but something that I had to accommodate for. And then also just making sure to keep the book clean because I didn't want to get it dirty and all of that stuff. And so it was nice to read from this book. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this copy because I do want a copy just for my collection, even if I never read from it again. But I don't know if I want the hardcover or the paperback if they ever come out with a paperback version. So, Fourth Wing. This has been a really good series to read. I've enjoyed all 3 books. My favorite character is Ardana. I have no idea how to say any of the names, so I'll probably mispronounce it throughout this video. But I did enjoy reading Fourth Wing because I feel like Ardana, I feel like she's like the Tweety Bird of dragons, and she was this cute little innocent thing when Violet met her, and then she just kind of turned into like this sassy teenager, and then obviously she had a much bigger role in the story if you get through Onyx Storm. And so it was just really, really great to read and a great world and universe to dive into. By the time I finished this book, I was ready for it to be over with, but it ended on a great cliffhanger, so I want to know what's going to happen in the 4th book. I know that they're already working on a TV series for this, I believe, with Amazon Studios. I don't know if I read correctly that Drake is involved. I'm not 100% sure. I can't recall if it was for this series or if it was for Kennedy Ryan's book series or whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely very excited for the TV series. I'm glad that they're doing a TV series instead of a movie, because with the movie you just get like 2 hours, but with the series you get so much more time to tell the story. So I am looking forward to that. I'll definitely be watching it. I did see people do like animated videos of like retelling the chapters in an animated style, so that was kind of cool, but I would rather see the TV show, obviously. But yeah, I loved everything about this book. It definitely is a mix of Harry Potter and Game of Thrones. Obviously this is like the adult Harry Potter because they do have a lot of sex scenes in this series. This series, it was already very good, so she didn't need to be that detailed with some of the sex scenes and the books. So I would have preferred if she left that out because it wouldn't have taken away from the story if she didn't include it to that extent. Violet and Xaden's relationship and the romance of their relationship is a huge part of the story. Like the intensity of what they feel for each other is a huge part of the story, but he could have easily conveyed all of that same intensity without being so descriptive of the sex scenes. So Fourth Wing was definitely a really, really good read. I do want to get the other 2 books. I don't know if I'm going to get them in hard copy or hardcover. I know that Fourth Wing, you have to pre-order it from Target and it's not going to be ready until September. I'm not sure about Iron Flame. I think it's the same thing, especially with the sprayed edges. So I'm debating on whether or not I want to complete this collection or how I want to go about even acquiring this collection. But again, Fourth Wing was a very, very good read. It's easily the next Harry Potter, if that makes sense. I did not read the Game of Thrones books, but I know that was like the next big thing, at least for me, after Harry Potter. I don't think anything will ever top Harry Potter because Harry Potter for me just came out of nowhere and it completely took over the world. Everybody was reading the books, everybody was talking about it, everybody was going to the movies to see those movies. I feel like Fourth Wing is the next big thing for fantasy books like Harry Potter. So I'm very excited that I came across Fourth Wing. And I don't know if I'll reread any of these books. I generally don't like rereading books, which makes it weird that I want a physical copy because I'm never going to read it again, most likely. But I do like having the physical copy for sentimental reasons. And again, I can't say enough good things about fourth wing. So let's get into a little bit more about fourth wing. I'm going to pull up my notes and we can talk about it. Okay, so there was two things I wanted to mention. The first thing was back to Ardana. So obviously if you've read the series, spoiler alert, she is an Irish, so she's able to change her coloring, but she's also the 7th breed of dragon, and they need that 7th breed to power the ward stones in the different areas of wherever they live. And I was so annoyed that they found the Irish and then they rejected her, and I felt for her when she was like, do not ruin this for me, and she was so excited about telling the story of like the adventures that she had with Violet, and I call him Taran, whatever, I don't know how to actually say his name, but she was so excited to tell like her future family about all of the adventures she was having and like how strong and fierce she was and all of that stuff. And then they just rejected her because they felt like she was a weapon, and they left her behind as a way to test humanity and see if they actually evolved or whatever, and obviously they thought that they failed, and so they rejected her. But then I was really glad when the one guy who was actually from her den, or like a relative of hers, he was like, hey, you know, I want to train you, develop you, mentor you, whatever. I don't agree with what the rest of the group has decided. And then he came to help them. And then it broke my heart when they broke the bond between Ardana and Violet, and just the way that scene was written was so well written, but it was also so intense and so devastating that Ardana wanted to go with Leothan, or whatever his name is. She wanted to go with him, and then Violet realized like, oh shoot, she wants to go, like I need to make this okay for her to go, even though I'm going to be devastated. And I really like that she sacrificed that for her, because whatever she said to Ardana, she was basically like, no, I will always love you, I want the best for you, blah blah blah, I want you to be happy and to like learn about your family even if it's not with me. That was so devastating because he instantly severed the bond, and then they couldn't talk to each other anymore. And then Violet was in bed for like 3 days, 3 weeks, whatever, because she really could not get over the loss of her dragon. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Xaden. So there's a bunch of scenes that I really love, but I really love the scene where they went to whatever island it was, Hedonis or whatever, and they come across Xaden's mom, and he's like not happy to see her because she abandoned him, and then she remarried and she has 2 kids, but then the whole thing was just set up and they were just testing the kids, and so then they tried to poison the kids. I think only Garrett got poisoned, and then Violet poisoned them through the arrowment tea or whatever. And then I really like when just before that they were really trying to force Xaden and Kat to kind of like reunite the arranged marriage, and he was like, yeah, okay, sure, you know, I'll do whatever is best, whatever. And then he's like, and then the guys are like, so should we do 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever? And he's like, no, a lifetime's not enough. And so I'm like, why would you want to be married to Kat for a lifetime? And then he's like, yeah, and the name on the papers are going to be Violet Sorrengail. And then, oh my god, I died when he said that, because he really had everybody thinking that he was going to go along with the arranged marriage to Kat, and he was like, no, I'm marrying Violet, you idiot. So I really love that, because he's really strong, masculine, and unwavering in his love for Violet, that he has made it clear in multiple instances that he's not going to sacrifice what they have to appease other people, to do what he's supposed to do as far as his responsibilities. And I really love that moment where they go to see that one guy with the lines, and he is like, no, who's your loyalty to, the king or to somebody else? And he's like, my loyalty's to Violet, first of all. And then he was like, I only protect Basquiat, if that's how you say it, whatever. I only protect that place if Violet's there. So I thought it was just so funny how everything he did was for the best interest of Violet, and if he did something, it was because either Violet was involved or she was in that location, or because his main focus was making sure that Violet was okay. And so those are some of the things that I really liked reading in the Fourth Wing series. There's a bunch of other ones that I cannot name right now, but I really just wanted to take the time to talk about those, because those were really big moments in the story that kind of just made the story that much better. Because oh my gosh, I have to talk about this other one. So the other one was in that same scene where he meets his mom, or reunites with his mom unexpectedly, and they get poisoned, and then the cook stabs Riddick, and then what they realized is that the knife actually just went through his jacket so he didn't get stabbed, and then he's like, oh, I hate you, and the way it's written is he's like, I hate punch you so much punch because I only have like one set of I only have one set of flight gear, but I have 4 uniforms or whatever. But the way it was written on the page was so well done that you could picture it in your head. And I have to say, it's been a while since I've read a book first and then watched the movie or the TV series, so I can't imagine them, like how I envisioned everything in my head from reading the book. I can't imagine that whatever they put on the TV screen is going to live up to how I played it out in my head as I was reading the word. And so there were a lot of moments like that were very funny and very hilarious that I hope they capture in the TV series when it comes out. So already, yeah, that's Fourth Wing. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. Alrighty, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about was that with me getting Onyx Storm, I really want to build my collection of books that I have. Growing up, I always went to the bookstore and we purchased a lot of books, but with me moving around, I only took my Harry Potter collection and I didn't have any of the other books that I bought. So I did go on a book haul to a used bookstore in my area, and I did pick up 18 books that I'm excited to talk about. A lot of them I have already read and some of them are new books, and yeah, we can just go ahead and talk about it. The first book that I have is The Third Summer of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. So I read this when I was in like middle school going on to high school. So I probably will not read these, but I got this for the sentimental value. I do have the other 3 books as well. I'll grab that in a second. So these are all of the books. I got this one because it was cheaper, even though I probably should have got the books that would have been all the same size, because I know that that is a big deal. But I got 18 books for about $96, which is a good bargain. All of the books I got were less than $8, and so I got this one just because it was cheaper. But obviously it tells the same story, so whatever, it's gonna be on my bookshelf, whatever. As long as I have the physical book, I think that matters more than which physical book it is. But for some books that I was looking at the bookstore, I did not get them because I really wanted to get paperback over a hardcover book because the hardcover books are heavy. These are the other 2 books that I have for the Sisterhood of a Traveling Pants. Again, I don't know if I'm going to read these, but I was very excited to get this book, and I actually didn't, oh, somebody's phone number is on this book. That's very interesting. I didn't look at anything when I was looking through this, so this person's name and phone number is all over this book, so I'll have to like try to erase that because I don't want to show that on camera. But again, I'm very happy that I got these books. I probably, again, will not read them unless I have a lot of downtime. I don't know if I've actually ever read the 4th book, so this will be interesting because I'm pretty sure I've not read it. So I have the physical copy if I want to finish the series. So the next book I have is Jodi Picoult, My Sister's Keeper. So again, I read this book in middle school, high school, probably high school. So again, I got this for sentimental reasons. I should reread it. I don't know when, because right now I'm trying to finish my subscription of Kindle Unlimited. So I want to make sure that I read those new books that are basically free under that subscription. Because again, you pay monthly instead of per book, which is a huge deal, in my opinion. If I had spent money on reading all 3 Fourth Wing books plus the 2 or 3 other books that I read, that probably would have cost me around $60 to $70 at least. So to read as many books as you can in a month for whatever the monthly fee is, $12, that is a huge deal. So My Sister's Keeper, I can't remember all of the details of this book, but I think basically there's one sister who's sick and the other one basically takes care of her, and her life is kind of altered by whatever condition her sister had. So I got this one for sentimental reasons because I really do like this author. I think I got 5 or 6 of her books because I really like her writing style. And let's talk about the next book that I got from her. So the other book that I got was 19 Minutes. Again, I read this in high school as well. I think this one was about a school shooting and just kind of everything that happened leading up to the school shooting and after. I'm very fuzzy on the details, but I know that when I read this one, it had a huge impact on me. The other one that I wanted to get was called The Pack, but they didn't have that. But I'm definitely glad that I got this one and then My Sister's Keeper. So again, if I have time, I'll definitely probably try to read through some of the books that I have that had a bigger impact on me, because those obviously meant something for me to go back and get the physical copy. But there are some books that I got that I have not read yet that I do want to read. So again, this was a really good read and I'm glad that I have a copy of it again. So Perfect Match by Jodi Picoult. I did not read this one either. This one is kind of a little bit intense. It has to do with trauma. I got this one because I do enjoy reading her books. So hopefully I like this story. There's a few others that I've gotten as well. I did get Small Great Things in Kindle copy. I have not read it yet, so I was a little annoyed at myself for getting the physical copy. But that's totally fine because again, these books were less than $8 each. So this is something that I have on my list to read. And then Small Great Things that I just mentioned. I have not read the, ooh, is there a page that's ripped? That looks like a page that was ripped. Weird. I don't know what, oh yeah, there we go. I don't know why it looks like there's a page that's ripped. It's more obvious when I flip through it. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying, but anyway. Small Great Things, have not read it yet. I do not know what it's about, but basically this is a story that's about the nurse and the white parents who don't want her to take care of the baby. So this will be an interesting read. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it is obviously an intense and controversial topic. Most of her books are kind of heavy on trauma and kind of like cultural stories, but I think this will definitely be a book worth reading. I also got The Echo of Old Books, so I knew that I can get this on Kindle and I've seen it a few times, but I haven't purchased it. I don't know if I borrowed it for Kindle Unlimited and then when my subscription ended, I lost everything that I borrowed. Like it returned back to the Kindle Unlimited bookstore or whatever, and then I just never got it again. But I did get a copy of it. This is probably, of the books that I got other than Onyx Storm, this is probably one of the newer books. I don't know when it came out, but this seems like it's a newer story compared to all of the books that I got, which would have been books that I read more so in high school and when I was younger. So I'm excited to read this one. I don't know if this is actually going to be my cup of tea, but I thought it was very fitting, The Echo of Old Books, considering that I did buy secondhand used books that are old. So this one kind of spoke to me for that reason. Okay, Home Court Advantage. So I don't know if I've ever read anything by this author before. The only reason why I got it is because it does have, it is about basketball and the rise of basketball stars. And so I thought that would be pretty fitting since the book that I just finished reading by Kennedy Ryan was called, was it called Hoops? I can't recall, but it was the story of August and whatever her name was. What is her name? August and the boyfriend's name was Caleb. What was the girl's name? I cannot remember it. But anyway, that book was really good. It was a basketball series and I used to play basketball, so I'm interested in reading that type of stuff. My timer is going off, so we're going over 30 minutes, but that's okay. So I was just excited to read this book just because of the basketball aspect of it, so I do hope it is good. The Song Reader. So I got this book because I was very interested. Obviously, I have a bunch of videos of me singing on my YouTube channel, and I know that the lyrics can, sometimes people misunderstand the lyrics, they don't really know what the lyrics mean, and so I thought this was a very interesting take on music and people, like, because I know that people write songs, there are songwriters, but this is a book basically about this girl who basically tells people what the lyrics mean or something like that. I don't really have the full understanding based on what I read on the back, so I am interested to see how this story turns out. So this just caught my eye as I was browsing through the bookstore. I was there for 2 hours, so I really wanted to make sure that I got books that either spoke to me or books that I was sure that I wanted, because there was maybe 5 or 6 books that I put back because I didn't feel like they fit the collection that I was trying to build. So this book, The Girl with the Louding Voice, I've never read this book before, so I am interested to see if this is something that I will like. I have a feeling that I may return 2 or 3 of these, but my sister was like, hey, these are $7, you don't need to return it, just keep it, donate it, whatever. So hopefully I like this book. This just spoke to me about, what was it about? Basically the girls learning how to speak up for herself, and so I thought that this would be an interesting read because as someone who has felt invisible and like I didn't have a voice, I felt like this book would kind of speak to me in that sense, and I've never read it before, so I was just curious enough to read this one. Then we have a classic, Things Fall Apart. So I read this in high school. I probably will not read it again, but I did want this for sentimental reasons. I don't have kids yet, but I feel like I need a collection to pass down to my kids if I were to have one. And if I don't have kids, what happens with my books? So that was something that kind of stuck out to me as well. I mentioned I have buyer's remorse for buying these 18 books, but I really tried to be very intentional with the books that I buy. And if I don't have kids to pass these books on to, that's totally fine. My family, when I pass away, they probably will keep the books or just donate them, but they do mean something to have them on my bookshelf. So this one I won't be rereading. I may reread it, but it's not on my list of books to read, being that I've already read it. Jodi Picoult again, Picture Perfect. This is one of the first books that I picked up at the used bookstore. I picked it up because of who the author is, and so I don't know when I will be able to read this book, but this one is basically about a couple that falls apart. There's an anthropologist and then a Hollywood actor, and they are filming a movie in Africa, and then their relationship just changes. And so obviously her books are about trauma, relationships, and just the things that you go through in everyday life with some kind of really catastrophic events that are happening. So this should be a good read just based on who the author is. Balancing Acts, Zoe Fisherman. This one spoke to me because this was talking about a woman who said until she turned 30 and took stock of her life or lack thereof. And so this is just basically about someone starting their life over, and they're kind of like already in their 30s. I'm 35, so this seemed a little bit fitting. Not that I'm starting my life over, but I just want to see how someone who's close in age to me, who's having to start over or kind of move on from something traumatic that has happened, how they are doing that. And so just really rooting for characters to find love, to recover from whatever they've been through and move on with their lives. And so that was why this book spoke to me. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. So I do not know if I read this book in middle school or high school. I feel like I would have read it in middle school. I may or may not read through this. Again, I just got this for sentimental reasons. I really wanted to get as many of the classics as I could. So they had this one. I did want to get A Catcher in the Rye because I read that for high school as well. They did have a copy of it, but I forgot to grab it because it was in like a newer section. It was a little bit more expensive. It might have been $7, but it was in a section that was for I guess newer books that they had just gotten, so the price was higher. So I may go back and get that one, but this was something that I wanted to get just because it is a classic. This book I have, Americana, so I've never read this, so this would definitely be on my list of books to read. Basically, I'm not going to go into the story. I don't really know a whole lot just from reading what's on the back. But I think it will be a good read. I hope it is a good read because I wanted to get a few Toni Morrison books. I wanted to get I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and then there's another book that she's written that I can't think of the title that I had to read for high school. They didn't have any of those books. They had A Song of Solomon, but I don't know if I read that book, and the title didn't really speak to me. So I do want to read this book and see how this turns out. Alrighty, we're coming up on the last book that I got, 1984. So I know about the Amazon controversy with 1984 and how people lost their copy of it, and so I really wanted to make sure that I had my own copy of 1984. Even though I love reading on my Kindle, I am paranoid about, hey, you know, they can change what's in your digital copy, whatever, update it, remove stuff, whatever. So I really wanted to have a copy of 1984 that's as true to the text as I think it is. I know that there's different editions. This is not the one, this cover is not the one that I read in high school, so I don't know which edition this is. but I may or may not read through it. But this was something that I really wanted to have in my collection just because of how kind of futuristic the book was in terms of speaking about what would happen when your society is completely controlled, or you have like AI or robots or whatever, or just like a really strict government that is very picky about what you can and can't do. So I really just wanted to have this copy, like the physical copy, that I could refer to if I ever did want to reread it. Alrighty, so that is everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. I am super happy that I got a Kindle. I have read maybe at least 5 or 6 books since I got this Kindle, which would have been at the beginning of June. It is now July 7th, so I may have had this Kindle for a month. So yeah, we've read a lot of books in that time. We've also gotten 18 new books that we're looking forward to reading. Some of them, a lot of them I've already read, but there's a few in there that I do want to read for the first time, so I'm really excited about that. I have no idea when I will get to that because I do have other things that I kind of want to work into my whole reading schedule, because honestly I've been wanting to do nothing but read. I have not spent a whole lot of time watching TV shows like I normally would be doing with my time. I've really been focusing on finishing the Fourth Wing series and then reading a few other books that I've been reading, so I really need to do a better job of doing the things that I need to do every day outside of reading, and then just kind of reading in my spare time after I've done everything else that I've needed to do. But in all, I am again really glad that I've gotten a Kindle. I do, prior to me getting this Kindle, I was reading books, but I wasn't reading them at the rate that I'm reading them now, and it is really good to get reacquainted with physical books again, because just holding a physical book is a very different experience from having a book on your e-reader, and it's just not quite the same thing. But I do love the concept of having an e-reader because you can literally have 1,000 books on this one device, and it's just 5 ounces versus this stack of 18 books. I would not be able to take all 18 with me anywhere. That would be super annoying. So that is the advantage of having the Kindle, having the Nook, or whatever e-reader you have, because you are not going to want to carry these heavy books with you. You are going to want to have your Kindle. And so yeah, this has been a crazy month of reading books, of rediscovering the topics I'm interested in, and just kind of reading books to escape, but then also really reading really good stories that are impactful and have made a difference on me and how I see the world, because I do have more like positive energy because I'm just so excited about what I'm reading that it kind of manifests itself in how I talk about the other things going on, or how I communicate about what I'm reading to the people around me. And so I do love the fact that reading can transform you when you're reading these stories, because there are a lot of stories out there that are just kind of like books that you read to pass the time, and there are books that you read that change you. And I definitely feel like Fourth Wing, the series, those books have changed me. And then also the Kennedy Ryan book that I read, that definitely changed me before I let go. So yeah, so again, I'm super excited that I have spent the last 30 days reading as many books as I can on the Kindle, and just kind of getting reacquainted with books again. I don't know if I'll continue reading at this frequency. I don't know if I'll continue building my collection, because I don't want to have a ton of books that are just sitting in my room not being read, because I do have 1,000 unread books on my Kindle, which is crazy. And I can't imagine if I actually had 1,000 books in my home. Obviously that would be a pretty cool and impressive library, but I just can't imagine having that many books. So I may continue to buy books, but I'll be very intentional about what I buy. If it's something that's really transformed me or has had a major impact on me just from reading that story, it is worth considering buying the physical copy, because sometimes it's just nice to, like, if you want to go look something up, you can just open the book and flip to exactly what you're looking for. I'm the type of person who kind of remembers things based on like what I was doing or what I was thinking when I was going through that, so I feel like it would be a little bit easier for me to find what I'm looking for in a physical book versus a Kindle, because again, it's just a different experience. And so anyway, I'm done rambling. I hope this video has been helpful for you. I do appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.